This is TechVibe Radio, your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. TechVibe is brought to you by Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, and Savier at savier.com. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios.
Good morning, and I am so happy you're spending your Sunday morning hanging out with me on TechVibe Radio. We've been doing just a whole bunch of shows at the Huntington Bank in downtown Pittsburgh. With the former McDonald's, kind of blighted, but they took this thing over and have made it an amazing facility. It is something that is part of the energy that is revitalizing downtown. And I just love our downtown. I love Pittsburgh, and I get really excited to do stories here and talk about all the great things that are going on. And today I am just extra excited because I am a history nerd of all things Pittsburgh, without a doubt. I want to become like the resident tech history nerd of Pittsburgh. And I am hanging out with Don Smith today, who's the president and CEO of RIDC, which is the Regional Industrial Development Corporation. And they're 70 years old now, and they've been doing some work that you've probably seen, but maybe didn't know those four letters were behind it. I'm talking things like Mill 19, talking like things in Lawrenceville, like chocolate factory, you name it, they've been there. So Don, thanks for being here today. I can't think of anyone cooler to be hanging out with, especially after you guys have just put a new book out, which I'm very excited to nerd out on, called Rebuilding Pittsburgh. So welcome to the show today, Don. Great to have you here.
Well, thanks, Jonathan. Great to be back, and always fun to talk to you and the great show that you do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And so I don't know, I'm in this whole modus operandi. I'm just thinking about all the revitalization that has happened to our Pittsburgh region over the past 70 years. I personally have witnessed the past 30 years just firsthand working at the Tech Council. And I think about how so much has changed. And I think about a whole new generation of people here now that don't understand some of the things that RIDC has built. they didn't quite exist, at a certain point in time. And yet they've become this infrastructure of what we have in our technology industry. And I'm so thrilled that you guys wrote this book. It's like a testament to show this is the work that RIDC has done, and the work that you will continue to do probably for the next 70 years.
God willing.
Exactly, God willing. So for any listeners out there, RIDC, it might be a mystery to them. Give us kind of a lowdown about RIDC and really what makes it so special and how it works and how it's able to develop things like Mill 19, my favorite building in Pittsburgh. I'm going to say that right now.
Well, I think it's mine too, but I'm a little biased, Jonathan. But RIDC, the Regional Industrial Development Corporation, was originally founded by the Allegheny Conference 70 years ago. And, they had the foresight to look at the region and say, we need to diversify our economy. We need to build some other industries in addition to steel. And we need an organization to be the point on doing that. And actually, up until the 70s, RIDC's budget was funded each year just by contributions from the companies that were on the board.
Okay.
And so folks like R.K. Mellon, and the CEOs of U.S. Steel and Koppers and Pittsburgh National Bank and Mellon, they were all, Henry Hillman was actually on the board at one point. So some of the giants that made Pittsburgh the incredible place that it is were part of forming RIDC and have supported it through the years. But we're kind of a unique animal. We're a private, not-for-profit organization. A lot of folks may think of us as a developer. We don't think of ourselves as a developer. We think of ourselves as an economic development organization. Our mission is really helping companies create jobs and taxes to support the vitality of Southwestern Pennsylvania. We do that often through development and operation real estate. We have about 8 million square feet of real estate that we own and operate throughout Southwestern PA. And we are the largest land area IDC, or Industrial Development Corporation, in Pennsylvania. So there's lots of municipalities and counties that have an IDC, but we actually operate across the 12 counties of Southwestern Pennsylvania, which really makes us unique.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell our listeners to go to ridc.org. And what I love about your site is you can kind of dork out on all the different properties that you have. And you can see, especially if you're into history, you can say, I remember that site used to be this and now it is this. And so I really encourage our listeners to check that out after listening to this, of course.
Well, and Jonathan, one of the coolest technologies in websites that's come along is where you can take the old photo and overlay the new photo, and you can just go back and forth to see what it looked like then and now. And so I spend time on our website doing that, going, wow.
But it's cool stuff. Absolutely. I think it's absolutely amazing. And so, I mean, tell us about the book. I mean, the idea that after 70 years, you guys have done a ton of work that has just made Pittsburgh in so many ways, especially through our technology community. I mean, I think of so many of our tech companies. I mean, you guys were the first to build like robotic specific space and Foundry to make sure that you can meet the needs of those particular companies. I just feel like you're able to build things to really drive some of these niches that are creating so much momentum and so forth here in the region. So yeah, tell me more.
Jonathan, this was really a project of kind of opportunity. So we are celebrating our 70th anniversary. And so it seemed like a good time to stop and contemplate some of the things that have gone on, but also some of the folks who were really critical drivers for RIDC and the region over that last period of time. Folks like Brooks Robinson, like Lee Javoden, like Bob Pease, who had run either RIDC or the Allegheny Conference or others, are still with us. And so we had an opportunity to go and get their firsthand recollection of what was going on and get their story. And I think it's really important to hear, sort of straight from the horse's mouth what was going on and what they were thinking. And so and we were very fortunate. We reached out to Doug Hoyk, who's known to many Pittsburghers, Pittsburgh Quarterly and others.
Absolutely.
And he hooked us up with Jeffrey Frazier, the author of the book. Jeff has been a writer here in Pittsburgh for a long time, and they really did a fantastic job with the book. And I think what I'm most proud of or intrigued by is they said, we're going to use Pittsburgh's experience as a foil for RIDC's evolution.
Yeah,
it's
completely.
Here's what's going on in the region and what's going on at RIDC at all these different points in time. And I think what I'm proud about RIDC is we haven't been doing the same thing for 70 years. We've evolved our focus.
Absolutely.
Whatever the region's needs are. And I think the book does a great job of capturing that.
Yeah. You literally, as you begin and go through, you can actually see how Pittsburgh's evolved. You've been with it. What I think is so interesting is the fact that you're putting these stepping stones in place so the industry could move ahead as you went. You're almost like anticipating some of the moves, which I think has been so interesting over time to check this out. So if people want to buy this book, can they get it on Amazon? Like where can they go and pick this up?
They can get it on Amazon. It's called Rebuilding Pittsburgh, RIDC and the Transformation of the Steel City by Jeffrey Frazier. And at one point we were up in the top 10 for Pittsburgh history books. So flying off the shelves. We're also talking to Giant Eagle. I think they're going to carry it in some of their stores in the book section as well.
That sounds great. I'm going to see it in the Barnes & Noble local history part and everything, because I think it's a great thing to buy people for the holidays and things. If someone's into Pittsburgh, why not read about some of these transformations? I tell you what, we're going to take a quick breakdown. We're going to come back and we're going to talk a lot more about some of the key projects RIDC has done, how these been documented, of course, in the book, Rebuilding Pittsburgh. It's going to be so much fun because we have another 10 minutes for us to nerd out and talk about all the fun stuff that you guys have done. So everyone, please stay tuned. As you know, we are coming at you from the Huntington Bank in downtown Pittsburgh, which to me is just driving so much change here. That key piece that's just making Pittsburgh just be this place that we all want to live, work, and play. So hang tight. We'll be right back. This is Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. And if you go to pghtech.org, you can check out all the ways we love helping tech companies succeed. A strong work culture is the invisible force that binds employees to each other, to the company, and to their work. It's linked to better business outcomes, happier employees, and increased retention. How we work and where we work continue to evolve in almost every way, yet our human need for connection and purpose remains. Help your employees connect and thrive by evolving your culture to support your team, regardless of how or where they work. So discover how the Kindling Culture Agency can transform your company's culture at sparksomething.big.com. That's the Kindling Culture Agency at sparksomething.big.com.
Compunetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, Compunetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com. Your dial is set to TechVibe Radio, brought to you by Compunetics, Chorus Call, Highmark, Huntington Bank, Kindling, PNC Bank, and Xavier. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios.
Welcome back. You're listening to TechVibe Radio on a Sunday morning. I am so happy you are joining us this morning because I have just a tremendous guest, a good friend of the Tech Council, a good friend of mine as well. We have Don Smith from RIDC, otherwise known as the Regional Industrial Development Corporation, celebrating its 70th anniversary, which is kind of like, whoa, man, that's 70 years of doing some great work to help our ecosystem grow here. New book, Rebuilding Pittsburgh, just out recounting all the key things that they've done over the years. It's really cool because you can get to this book in a couple days. It's not like it's on a million pages. You can get through this thing pretty fast. And you can learn so much, get some insight as to what was going on to really just revitalize Pittsburgh from the steel towns to tech and advanced manufacturing that we have today. So Don, thanks for hanging out with me here. I just love being in this location, talking about all things Pittsburgh. So I got my big Pittsburgh history nerd thing going on right now.
It's great to be with someone who's such a positive Pittsburgh presence, Jonathan.
Trying my best, man. Trying my best. So first and foremost, okay, this book, Rebuilding Pittsburgh, of course, you can get it on Amazon, which I think is fantastic. And hopefully we'll get to the local bookstores, maybe Giant Eagle and places like that. But go to Amazon if you want to get it like immediately. He said it's a top 10 on Pittsburgh history, which yes, that's very, very cool. Let's just jump in because this book details some great projects. Where's a good place for a start? What would be one of your favorite projects that you think really just typifies the work that RIDC does when it comes to building cool stuff?
Yeah, so one of my favorite projects, which I wasn't actually involved in, I mean, we've been operating it still, but it happened long before my tenure, is Keystone Commons down in Turtle Creek in East Pittsburgh, which was the old Westinghouse generator production facility. A very big site with over 1.8 million square feet, 1.8 million square feet of old buildings. And when Westinghouse sadly got out of the business and really kind of split up, RIDC took that site and has been redeveloping it ever since. And so there are, over 1,000 jobs in 2 communities that really need them, showing up every day, building cool stuff, from nuclear fuel containment vessels to new technology batteries, and, still some steel products and a wide variety of manufacturing jobs, kind of bedrock jobs, in a site. And one of the things they did that was so cool is they took one of the old buildings and they made what's now called the West Shop Industrial Mall. So you actually drive into the building, and then there are offices on either side, 2 stories of them. You can still see the old crane that's up there from when the mill was operating. So it was a very creative reuse of an old mill building, and in some ways was kind of the precursor to Mill 19, which I think today is kind of the coolest building in Pittsburgh. But
I never thought about that. You're exactly right, because it's so interesting. Like when you go to Keystone Commons, I've been there a few times. It's kind of weird driving in, and then it's just like you park there because that's where the businesses are. And you took that same concept of Mill 19, where you took the old LTV site and declad it, the superstructures there, but then you built inside of it, which to me was just typifies how awesome Pittsburgh is. It's like new tech growing out of the old foundations.
Yeah, I think it's a great nod to the history of Pittsburgh, but it's also housing the future of Pittsburgh, with Carnegie Mellon and the Arm Institute and Motional, the self-driving car company. And so I think it is a great kind of metaphor for RIDC and our mission, really leveraging what's great about Pittsburgh to help build the future and to create the homes for the companies and the people that are creating the next wave of great companies here in our region.
Without a doubt. Well, the thing that I find so amazing about the development that you guys do, and you don't get this from a regular developer all the time. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I've been really, I have a ton of respect for, and what you guys have done is you're integrating Hazelwood into this development. So it's not just like it has this wall around it and the people come and work and then leave and go. And there's like these two worlds, but you're really trying to create this balance and try to create community around these things. And I feel be proud of it as well too. But I think the most important is to then start showing people in the community that you can be working in these industries too, which is so important for us at the Tech Councils to have everybody come along for the ride. And I think the way you've developed this, you're bringing the community in.
Yeah, I think one of the things that being a not-for-profit allows you to do is sort of take the long view.
Right.
And so even though we don't get operating support from public entities, so we have to pay our own bills. So we have to be cognizant of costs, but it allows us to take that little bit of a more forward-thinking perspective, a more community integrated perspective. If you look at Mill 19, we had another developer who was on our board who said at one of the board meetings, this is exactly why RIDC exists, because there's no way in hell we would do that project. We just get our money back on a time frame that would appeal to our shareholders, but our shareholders are really the region. And so we're here to create jobs, to build the tax base. And if we do make any money on a project, it just gets recycled into the next one.
Exactly. So you can kind of expand and do more of what you're doing. Now, one of the projects that I've been keeping my eye on, Don, so I ride my bike all through Pittsburgh, and I pay attention to what you guys are building, and I'm always amazed at what you're doing at the Cary Furnace site. That to me is so exciting. And to me, it's going to be a really difficult project just because of how sequestered it is. It's kind of tucked away, so access is a little bit tough. But you're doing the hard work on this thing to make that site a place that can grow.
Yeah, we're excited about Cary Furnace, and I think it's a great project to show kind of how we do projects, because it's really a partnership with Allegheny County and their Department of Development that acquired the site and did some of the remediation, and now we're partnering with them. We built the first building, and we're talking to other prospects, potentially a film studio and other kinds of things on that site that used to be the furnaces. But we couldn't do it without the partnership with the county, without the partnership with the state. Senator Costa, who's such a great supporter of economic development. Even Mike Doyle, U.S. Congressman Doyle, helped get the funding to put the flyover that goes from the Rankin Bridge over the railroad tracks into the site. And so that's the kind of, we call it our 3 Ps. It's partnership, packaging, and patience is how we get projects done. And I think Cary Furnace is a great example of that.
Well, that's something that I find so interesting is you say the word patience. And what I find amazing is you've been, president, CEO for the past 16 years, and you've seen some things happen, but you still know some things you're working on are going to be another 5-10 years down the road. I just want to see results now. I would have a really hard time with that. But you got to be cool, calm, and collected, right?
Well, it's been a good ride for us, and we've been very fortunate. But you look at things like the old Sony plant, RIDC Westmoreland out in New Stan. Again, a partnership with Westmoreland County Industrial Development Corporation, 2.8 million square feet in one building. And we've got almost the entirety of the first floor, 2 million square feet leased to companies, hiring people, creating jobs, paying taxes. The ability to see that from empty shell to bustling, thriving manufacturing and technology center, really cool. And I really think New Ken is going to surprise everybody. It's going to be a huge home run. It's going to take a little while to get there. But the potential is there. And I think RIDC, our model, is the only way you can extract that potential and bring it back to that community.
Well, at the Tech Council, we truly appreciate your patience in putting these projects through, because it's making a massive difference into how our technology community is able to grow and have the right space in which they can grow. I just can't say enough how much fun it is talking to you. I got to remind our listeners, you got to check it out, Rebuilding Pittsburgh, the history of what RIDC has built here over the past 7 years. And there are some amazing projects. Go to ridc.org to check out their site. You can actually see these projects as they look now and how they used to look, which is just so much fun. Don Smith, you're the best. Thank you for hanging out with me today here at Huntington Bank.
Thank you, Jonathan. We love working with the Tech Council, and look forward to continuing that partnership.
That's what it's all about. That's why I've been doing this for 30 years, because I have so much fun watching this stuff happen. And then us partnering with RIDC over the years has just been really amazing stuff. We're going to leave it at that. Everyone, thank you for listening. As you can tell, I get charged up because we live in an awesome city, an awesome region. It takes a lot of work to make it happen. Simple as that. It's been Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. Go to pghtech.org and find out all the ways we would love to help your tech company succeed. If you're not a tech company, you can still join. There's so many ways to tap into our ecosystem. Have a great rest of your Sunday, everybody.
The Pittsburgh Technology Council has been helping our region's tech companies succeed since 1983. The Pittsburgh Technology Council helps its members meet new customers, hire top talent, make headlines, and have a strong voice in government. From startup to multinational, the PTC helps tech companies and advanced manufacturers of all sizes. See how we can help your venture grow at pghtech.org. That's pghtech.org. Thanks for geeking out with us on TechVibe Radio. Tune in next Sunday for more tech and innovation stories right here from Pittsburgh. TechVibe is brought to you by Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, and Savior at savior.com. And we're always coming at you from the Huntington Bank Studios.